Hello, hello, and welcome to the first session of the Renewal of Red Row, a Spire the City Must Fall actual play. You can meet us after the break for announcements. If you want to support the cast and channel, we do have a tips menu. $10 will let a PC of your choice lower their stress and fallout. $20 will get you some insight into the character of your choice via a flashback in the next session, and you can also use channel points for that. Our content warnings for the show can be found using the Twitch command !CW. And hi, I am your game master for this game. My name is Alyssa. My pronouns are they, them, and you can find me on Twitter at @adisasterqueer. I will pass it over to Joe.
Hello everyone, Josephine at Scary Dog Friend. I am your Bad House RPG co-admin, co-producer. Thank you so much love for Fabs for once more all the art and assets. You should commission Fabs at Rockets and Pens, just so you know. I will be playing Freddie Rose, the Elfier Ink Weaver, and we'll find out what the fuck that means very soon. I'm going to pass it over to Nadine.
Hey everyone, I'm Nadine. I'm going to be playing our sad boy extraordinaire, Emir. And I'm very excited to be playing this game and playing with these wonderful people. Pass it on to... Are we going to Rook? Asad?
Yes, sadly, Rook could not be with us for this session, but you can find them on Twitter at RJK Games. You can also find them on itch at that same address. Buy their games. They're great. They're very sad and very beautifully written. Neda.
Hello. My name is Neda or Nur. I go by Ahmed. I go by Amir. Any are fine. And also they, them pronouns. And again, any are fine. I'm on Twitter at Transfather and Blue Sky as Transfather as well. Going to be playing De Niro, who is a human knight. Just a guy who's a knight. So we see on the surface. And just going to throw it back.
All right. With no further ado, let's get into it. Some say that the city of Spire was once a towering creature that stalked the world, lulled into torpor by a festering otherworldly rot, the heart that emanates from its core. To others, it's the larval form of a deity waiting to be birthed, or the terrestrial broken-in version of some lunar haven. Whatever its origin, whatever its future, there's no denying the Spire of today is a decaying marvel, a mile-high construct of opulence and rot that crushes its denizens from the top down. Our story starts near the top, on the luxurious canal streets of the Silver Quarter. We see a coffee shop, or a small cafe. The sign above says Vermilion, in a almost illegible font. Inside, at a table near the window, is a woman, maybe middle-aged. It's hard to tell. Her face is covered in a relatively simple white mask, accented with gold around the eyes and crowned with golden arms radiating about the upper half of her face. Each arm ends in a hand, open and generous offering, except for the lowest two, positioned near her cheekbones, which are curled inward, and each hold the side of a simple white veil that covers the bottom of her face. Her auburn hair is pulled back in thick braids, and her clothes are simple, but very clearly expensive. There's a similar mask to the one she's wearing, but full face, no veil, pinned to her shoulder like a pauldron. As is custom among high society, she had excused herself before drinks were served to change into the half-face, food and drink-friendly mask. Josephine, Freddie is sitting across the table from this woman who is Leia Shines the Light, a philanthropist who you are meant to be interviewing, creating some sort of puff piece for the newspaper of the day. Tell me, what is Freddie doing and how do they look?
Let's not mince words. Freddie's hungover, wildly ill-prepared for whatever this piece is supposed to be for. But she, at the very least, all things despite how she feels, she's gonna get a good story down. The spite fuels her more than anything else. This curated look does not match the insides. So I'm like drifting in and out of conscious over like an espresso. And I have every now and then it's just sort of like, sorry, can I just want to wrap my head around that one more time. And it's just so much of that.
To her credit, Leia is very patient with your zoning in and out. It seems as if she truly believes that you are taking her words deeply to heart and that she's really just moving you, because that's what she's used to. I mean, she's such an influential, a visionary philanthropist here in Spire, and she's here today, as she tells you over coffee, to really get the word out, to get public support for her project, renewing Red Row, one of the many neighborhoods down in Spire. In fact, in 5 days, the council is going to be voting on her proposal to designate Red Row an improvement zone, which means that any and all developments that can provide a positive social impact will automatically be approved. And isn't that great? She'll be able to bring so much growth to the neighborhood. Well, with this, the approval of this movement, I mean, we'll be able to rid Red Row of its lawlessness, its drugs, make it a place for respectable working class families again.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And are you working, can you remind me if you had already covered this? What's sort of your main stakeholders? This is an incredible opportunity for you. Is there anyone helping you, or any organizations we can expect to see maybe some of their posters, advertising, anything?
Oh, well, of course, the Glasshelm company, Glasshelm Holdings, is helping with all the financial bits and bobs, but that's not much interest. It's really a lot of my family money. I came from not very much, which I think, Freddie, you would know means not very much for an Aelfir, and also is a bit of an overstatement or understatement for Leia's origins. And I just really want to provide for everyone else, let them pull themselves up with a little bit of my support.
Yes, and can you remind me of, like, what are some of the wonderful things that we might expect if in the 5 days the vote goes for full approval? Are we expecting maybe like shopping centers or anything in that vein, or what are you interested in implementing?
Oh, absolutely. Our plan is to help buy property and improve some of the housing, improve the infrastructure, get more shops in, get better shops in, give access to people to more different types of food, different types of accessories from here up Spire. Anything that a growing family would want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Freddie is dying. Her head is going all over the place. I think if possible, at the very least, so I can make a more informed decision or something. I think in this moment, I feel like I have plenty of opportunities to check out through research her side of things. I want to know a little bit, have more context for the Glassholm Financial Company. So what shall I roll for that, God?
Yeah, that would be, I think, an investigate. And it would be commerce or high society, neither of which I think you have.
Nope.
So just roll me 2d10, please.
And do I tell you the result of both or add them?
You tell me the highest.
Highest is a 10.
Oh, nicely done. Okay. So you get everything that you could possibly want and more, and have to take no stress for this. Yeah, you did your I mean, you may be hungover today, but you did your research for this interview, and leading her into mentioning Glassholm was a solid play. They are one of the oldest financial institutions in Spire, but they've been able to stay that way because they're also one of the shadiest. They have a variety of holding companies and offshoots, and they operate at every different level of the Spire in different capacities. So down in Red Row and the Works, the sort of lowest levels, it's a lot of payday lending and other sort of predatory practices. Further up, they might do sort of mortgages, business support, investment, but the fact that that is the perhaps only financial institution that was willing to work with Ms. Shines the Light is a warning sign, I think, of what exactly is going on under the surface.
And have I worked for Glassholm previously?
Oh, in your past life, you have absolutely worked for them. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to invest, to spend money on people or projects, of course you need to know all the nitty-gritty details, all of their dirty little secrets before you get in bed with them. And that's what they would have hired you for.
Many beds there have been. Yeah. Unless there's anything in particular that you want me to have written down, I've been making pretty good headway on notes. It's like it's squiggles. It's like nothing really. It like she has, I think, Glassholm in capital letters and like underlined. But she like, I'll leave the rest of this kind of as your floor.
Yeah, I think that the only other thing that Leia says to you is just, well, thank you so much for your time. I hope that you'll come out to the council meeting, perhaps, report
Certainly.
on it, show your support. And
Yeah.
I don't know where you're headed after this. I am going down to Red Row, actually, to drop off some supplies. My servants will bring them before and just donate to the church. Some blankets, some food. I don't know if you wanted to join me for that. The newspaper mentioned that there might be photographs, some sort of opportunity for that.
I would love to take your photo while we're here. Unfortunately, I have another engagement. Alyssa, what church is it? Would I know? Is there a specific one church or is there a couple?
There are sort of multiple locations for the Church of Our Glorious Lady, who is one of the three faces of the moon goddess, most celebrated down Spire and by the Drow. She is the most politically acceptable face. The other two are much more geared, or have been at least incorporated into groups geared towards revolution, bloody or not. So, but the shining lady, the glorious lady, that's a good, respectable community church.
I can go ahead and get you set up with a photograph if you're interested now.
She obviously looks a little disappointed that the photograph will be up here, but she chose this cafe for a reason. The walls are a little bit close. They're lit by thousands of tiny candles. Much cleaner, much nicer than anything you would find down Spire, but looking at the menu and the aesthetic, you can tell that this is a restaurant, sort of, as they say, elevating the lower Spire food. So the environment itself also, maybe the right lighting could be taken as something down Spire and might still achieve her aims. So she will sort of pose for you, or she'll actually say, one moment, let me just change.
I'm going to go ahead and get this set up. And I have the oldest camera that anyone has ever seen. But only because that's what you can afford. That's what the news gives you. That's what Freddie kind of knows. And there's something about the gritty film of it that just will also work with the mass amount of printing. The better quality, the more expensive, So I spend how much time she needs. I spend maybe like 5 to 10 minutes setting up the little flash bulb, the little filter, all the things.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, she only needs a couple minutes to go back into the designated changing areas to switch out her mask, as most of high society wears. And of course, the mask designated not for eating is something that she designed herself, as, again, people tend to do when they come of age, though some of the patterns on it are reflective of her house and her family.
Mm-hmm.
But she comes back and sits, crosses her legs, poised in front of you. I've never seen a camera quite like that. What do you need me to do? How long do I need to sit for this?
It's as fast as whatever else you've experienced. No worries. It's just a setup that takes a hilarious amount of time. Get comfortable? We can only do this once.
She nods and says, I appreciate your innovation and just your work ethic in making this photo work. Thank you. And sits pretty, smiling at you, sort of looking off a little bit into the distance, like the visionary she is.
I think Freddie is annoyed with herself that she wants to take a good picture. She needs to take a good picture. Ms. Shines the light looks great. So she takes a good picture.
Perfect. And I think that as we see the flash of the camera, we leave this scene and start going down from the beautiful canal streets of the Silver Quarter to the more industrial areas of the works, and finally underground as the small, beautiful, glittering candles of this cafe are replaced by large smoking braziers and crowds of chanting people. De Niro, we are going to the fighting pits where indeed you are up for your first fight of the night. Tell me how De Niro looks.
So De Niro's day job as a guard, I think that is at least well established in this circle in particular. He has his hair down, not necessarily done anything with it. It's just down in waves, and I guess best term is athleisure wear with his armor from his day job, which is, I guess, nothing spectacular except extremely well maintained, like a leather cuirass, and pauldrons. One of them is almost a reflective shield with how I guess, I don't know leatherworking terms very well, but the term's probably treated or cured leather. and he wields a greatsword. He has some like smaller swords like attached, sort of like Zora, like tilted at his side. No other form of defensive measures on the surface, and he doesn't wear his mask. I'm assuming he's about to enter the ring, but he doesn't wear his mask necessarily just yet. It is attached to his hip. It is what looks to be a golden ram skull. Sorry, with weirdly delicate floral arrangements also painted onto it along the top of it. But he has that strapped to his other hip, the swords on one side and the mask on the other. And he assesses the crowd, probably starting light. He hasn't really cared about the details of the match yet, but he's always very eager to work the crowd. So he just does a few like twirls. He does a few like baton handling tricks. So he does that with the sword, and he catches it as if it's not hefty at all, like as if he was perhaps like waving a flag instead before anyone else enters.
That is the exact type of showmanship that both the crowd of the fighting pit and its patron really love to see. And it might do better for you, but the first person that you're fighting is unfortunately a new fan favorite. They came out of nowhere, and they are a very, very pretty Aelfir. Gleaming, glistening muscles. They perform in just basically no armor, but with a sort of long flail that they are sort of stretching, and not so much like twirling as much as they are like posing, almost for like quick sketches, like pause, pose. They will turn to you across the ring and give you a very beautiful, elaborate, flourishing bow. Say, are you ready to give a good show?
And he whips out the sword, goes for a very deep bow, and comes up. Guess we all know why we're here. I won't go easy on you.
The Aelfir blows you a kiss, and the I don't know what it's called, referee person who's
Officiator.
officiant shouts for you to start. How would you like to attack or start this match?
So obviously tell me when I need to roll for fight. He's not going to start offensively anyway at first. He wants to get to know her and see like, okay, like, is she like really this loose and limber because she's ready, or is she like not taking this seriously? Goes perhaps like circling around and then tries to mirror her before approaching directly, and sort of holds like a fencer's stance with the sword that's perhaps a little too long. Yes, exactly. The sword's a bit too big for it, but he again like has it like rolling in his hand as if it were a rapier. And then after I think a beat of noticing her like mirroring him, he like drops his defensive stance and then taps his chest silently.
Okay. Are you trying to provoke an attack,
Yes.
or are you more okay? Go ahead and give me a compel and crime, which I believe you both have. You have both of those, right?
I have compel. I don't see. Yes, I do have both. I do have both.
Yes.
So I
Okay,
can roll.
so roll 3 dice for me, because you always get one just for showing up.
All right, so I got a 9.
Okay, so a 9 is also a really good roll. You sort of tap your chest and look at her, and she is a little confused. Like, come on, I thought you were gonna come at me. Let's make this a show. It's not a show if we're just standing here looking at each other. So she, I think, comes in, darts at you very quickly, very nimbly, and sort of tries to whip out with her flail, but you are able to dodge away before she connects.
Ooh, he almost whispers under his breath. That's very wide. Try again, and then I think right after that he goes for another wide swing, but with matching speed again. If I can just, I guess, roll fight, I can.
Yeah.
That's a 7.
Okay, let's see. Ooh, okay. So that is success at a cost.
Okay.
So-
okay.
You go in and you do make contact with her, but she sort of... You make contact, I'll say, with her arm, but she uses the momentum to sort of swing around and also attacks you with the flail. And she also makes contact. So let's say take 1 blood stress. It's nothing. It doesn't make any difference for you.
Yeah, because I have 1 resistance.
Yes. But she is smiling now, and looking a little excited. And the crowd, too, is getting pumped because finally we're getting some hits in. We're getting maybe not quite blood yet, but we're getting there. I think of... Oh yeah, go ahead. No, you go.
Okay. He steps back after that. He looks unfazed, but like there's probably like an indent somewhere on his like upper body in the armored area, obviously, not his actual body. He gives her a wink. Kind of sees the audience first before giving them exactly what they want. And then at that point, I think he stops talking. And then we'll go for sincere trading of blows with this person who I don't know their pronouns, but unless she has any other witty remarks, it's going to be pretty simple.
Yeah, I think that y'all start going into it, really putting energy into the fight, and they are still like kind of vamping a little bit. In between sort of pauses in the fight, they will sort of bend to face the audience, try and get them more riled up. And I mean, I don't know do you join into that as well? It's good money.
Yeah, there's
for both of you.
definitely it's a wrestler's attitude in which like if she's gonna like set up for a move, then Daenerys going to like back off and then try to like mean mug or perhaps give like a little bit of flexing before going in again, and then likewise like as he winds up and does like almost like acrobatics standing on his sword as he does a cartwheel before like there's like a soccer term that's escaping my mind, but it's okay. Basically acrobatics and then a little more showmanship. He expects her to do the same so that they can both get like about equal, but he's like when their attention is faced towards each other, he's not letting up on her, so to speak. But he knows it's a show.
Yeah. So you get to the point near the end of the fight where it's really like coming down to it. Who is going to come out the winner? Who's going to win? Everything for the people betting on them. And that's what these fights are truly about. And as she raises her flail in sort of what you can tell is intended to be a finishing blow, you see arms waving behind her. Obviously, there are a lot of arms, people shouting in the crowd surrounding the pit, but this is familiar and a strange sight here deep in the underbelly of the city. This is, I mean, they don't look older than 14. They're a child. They're far, far too young to be here in the fighting pits. He has sort of short, croppy hair and threadbare clothes that sort of in contrast to the hair, which has clearly been like hand cut, maybe with a dagger, the clothes are very sort of neatly and cleanly mended. And he has sort of 2 pairs of arms, both of which are flailing wildly in the crowd. And this is your squire, Theo. And you can hear shouting, sort of their voice somehow raising beyond the crowd. Miro, you have to come home.
Oh, and I so want for him to like freeze, but and react in that opening moment. I think he like reflexively holds like a defensive position. He hears that. I think if it is all going to be played out, like he'll let himself get hit and then unceremoniously shove his opponent to the ground, like with like basically the butt of his sword, and like hop away, pay her no mind. Like I get maybe hop the guard railing that's on the side, like before announcements start, because he was wide-eyed at this, and now he's like, I have to play it cool. I'm gonna marches up to his guy, his child, essentially.
Yeah, you can hear from the ground this other fighter hissing at you, "Where are you going?" But
I ignore her.
you go right on past. The announcer is sort of glaring at you. This is not the way things are done. You need to stay for another round of, accolades. You've won this fight. Let people sort of revel in it. But you are off, and as soon as you get within grabbing range, this child, Theo, grabs your hand in one of theirs and says, "Come on, we have to go."
He lets himself be yanked down to his eye level, basically. And he's like, there had better be a good reason. Also, who let you in here? I made sure to tell the guards very specifically to watch out for kids with as many arms as yours and as shitty haircuts as yours. Stops himself.
I'm in here all the time, so maybe I should be a guard, because they can't stop me, so maybe I could stop them. I mean, if you just gave me a sword, then I'd be able to do it.
He like hisses a bit. If you were so smart, you would know that's not how this works, and that there's more rules that are shitty and I don't necessarily agree with, but I still have to follow. Anyway, I need to assume this is an emergency.
Yeah, their face kind of crumples a little bit, and you get the sense that they've allowed themselves to fall into this argument just because he was scared and didn't want to think about the reason that he called you. And as he pulls you out of the crowd, we will shift scenes to Amir. A little earlier in the day, Amir, we find you in your apartment building. Tell me, what do you look like, and what does your little unit look like?
Well, I'll start with Amir. I would say currently Amir is kind of padding around his apartment in just the shittiest boxers. Normally he's so well presented. He always wears very nice, finely tailored, well kept clothing. And this particular shirt and boxers combo has about 6 more holes than it should have. And so he's just padding around, and his apartment is as well kept as his finely tailored clothes. He's probably like mopping the kitchen, just put away the mop, and then has then cleared the dining room table, which no one but himself eats at. And even then, he probably eats at like the couch, which is definitely secondhand and had to be like steam cleaned quite a few times. But yeah, he it's pretty. I wouldn't say dingy. A real estate agent would say cozy. It's it's kushti. There we go. We'll go with kushti. And has kind of the bare necessities. There's maybe like one or two lamps that he's kind of gone to an antique store or like a whatchamacallit store and he's gone, oh, that's kind of cute, and has brought it home. But for the most part, it's pretty minimalist and quite bare.
And yet probably one of the better appointed units within this building.
Mm-hmm.
You hear a rapping at your door and the voice of your neighbor. Amir, are you home?
He kind of like looks around, looks at his, like, this is his cleaning clothes. He'll like pull on a pair of just shitty slacks and answer the door. Hi, are you okay?
And standing right at the threshold is Mrs. Jenkins, the oldest of your neighbors. She sort of leads the community garden, illegal, obviously, up on the roof of your building, and also some sort of community feasts. She's big within the neighborhood, sort of trying to connect people, trying to provide people, as much as her means can allow. And you have helped her out a little bit in the past with sort of small tasks that she is not quite equipped to do anymore. She's standing in front of you, her thinning gray hair under a bandana, wearing, despite it being pretty far in the afternoon and quite hot out, she is wearing a house dress and a robe and some thick boots. But she's, oh, good. That Marigold, I don't know where he's gone. I couldn't find him. The mirrors are out. Would you be able to help me with that? And you know that most of the garden here on your roof is plants that do fine underground. All of Red Row is underground. It's in an underground layer of this tall, many-layered cities. But there is one patch that includes a fruit tree, and this is wild and absolutely decadent for this area to be able to grow something that should only thrive in the sunlight. And the way that Mrs. Jenkins is able to do that is through a series of mirrors, which she has set up across, sort of around adjacent buildings, reflecting light from the giant lift that occasionally brings people in and out of this layer of the city. So when the lift is up and there is sun coming down, ideally the sunlight catches on these mirrors and is able to provide enough for these fruit trees to at least survive. Unfortunately, there have been a lot of pigeons lately, and in addition to stealing food,
pigeons.
They have knocked into these mirrors and keep just messing up the angles.
Gotcha. He'll go over to his shoes, and you know that thing when like your parents ask you to bring the shopping in, and the only shoes available are like 6-inch heels and like Wellington boots, and you're like, and he looks, and the only pair of shoes available are his like nicest, glossiest black shoes, and he's like, okay, puts them on. He says, "Lead the way, Mrs. Jenkins."
She looks down at your feet, doesn't say anything, but looks like she wants to. If you had lived here for another couple years, she would say something. As it is, she leads you up to the roof where you can see the sort of algae pit and the mushroom plots and the sun plot, which clearly is not getting sun. And she points to a building sort of across the way and says, it's just that one. Do you think you'd be able to climb up? It needs to just a little to the right.
Kind of like puts his hands on his hips and like, too sweaty for this. And he'll kind of like look and plan his route, but he knows that it's just going to be a scramble, and so he'll like hop up and like 2 seconds in, the shoes are scuffed, and he'll kind of just ignore it.
Yeah. You
So
are
I'll go over
able.
to the mirror, and I'm assuming he kind of moves it while she's down there shouting orders.
Yeah, she actually takes off her handkerchief and sort of shoves it to like waves it at one side, like, no, a little more this way. And then, oh, nope, you too far, over here.
Yep. Mhm. Oh, the other way again.
And almost as if perfect timing, just waiting for you to get this mirror correctly aligned, the lift comes down and the sun shines through, and there is a beam of light from this series of mirrors down into the plant. And Mrs. Jenkins sort of claps her hands warmly and says, you can come down now. Thank you so much. Here, please come down. You'll come to dinner, right?
Yes, of course. It would be my pleasure.
Good. I mean, you need to keep your strength up. I mean, who knows? Those damn pigeons might have you come and do this up again.
Oh, let's hope not, Mrs. Jenkins.
Well, if you see that marigold, you let him know. Do you
Oh, I will. He does mysteriously disappear whenever the pigeons need dealing with, so I'm sure I'll be speaking to him.
And she sort of, as you come back from the mirror back onto the roof, she'll clap your shoulder with a surprisingly strong hand, and say, thank you. I'll see you at dinner.
I'll see you then.
And as you head back, maybe to your room, maybe to go do something else now that cleaning is done, there is another knock, but this one is not at your door. It's at the front door of the building, and it's not the sort of congenial, neighborly greeting that you would sort of hope for. This sounds official.
Okay, sure. And I think at this point he's probably changed into something not holy, and puts away his black shoes sadly, and places some like shoe polish next to it, which is like running out. And he knows he'll probably need to go get some more. So he walks up to the door and is there a peephole?
Let's say there's a peephole.
He'll look through. Listen, this neighborhood is fantastic. He loves it. But it's also this neighborhood. So he'll look through the peephole.
There is one sort of gangly looking man in front of the door holding a briefcase with a folder sort of clutched to his side, and flanking him are quite a few. Are those city guards? Guards don't come down to Red Row, but sure does look like them.
Bollocks. Okay. He opens the door and very purposefully pulls it behind him and steps out, like into the space of the people at the door. And says, "Oh, morning, gentlefolk. How can I help?"
The man looks you up and down at your relatively nice clothes and these shoes that have been newly scuffed, but are still, much higher quality than one might expect down here. And he says, did they already send someone ahead?
It depends on how long ago you sent me.
Do you
No.
live
Oh,
here?
I live here. Yes.
Oh, apologies. I am a representative of the city of, well, I'm a representative of, let's see, pulling up my name generator. Brightgate and Sons. You probably haven't heard of us, but we are here because of your building. It's, as you would probably be able to tell, it's unfit for residents.
Listen, I
And
know the pigeons are bad, but they're not that bad. And he'll like smile charmingly. And he'll take like another step, see if he'll push them a little further away again.
Yeah, the gangly man sort of does take a step back, but the guards, who were sort of a respectable distance behind, take a step closer. And he says, No, we've done quite a bit of surveying in this area, and this building is not, it's not up to code. It's not fit for any residency, which, to be fair, is probably strictly true of most buildings in this area, but that's not something that anyone ever judges you on or sort of holds up. Yeah, like the plumbing in your building certainly doesn't work by nature of the landlord. It only works because you have a couple makeshift like tanks out back, and Mrs. Jenkins had a friend of a friend who was able to magic a little interstitial space between the main water and those tanks. So in exchange for dinner 3 times a week, he comes by and upholds it and makes sure there's water for you to have through your pipes. Like,
Bill's a
without
great guy.
yeah, without that, I mean, you wouldn't have plumbing, and, you know, the walls are thin and maybe warping a little bit. But they probably wouldn't fall down. They haven't fallen down yet, and Mrs. Jenkins has been here for like 50 years, so it's
Exactly.
fine. It's fine. But this official gangly man says, here there are more details in the actual notice, and fiddles through his files and hands you a piece of paper with a sort of bright green eviction notice stamped across the top.
Oh. Well, that certainly isn't news I wanted on this warmer day. Sorry, by the powers of who? Could you name yourselves again? I wasn't quite sure I caught that name.
Yes, we are Brighthome. Brighthome and Daughters, I believe is what I said.
Mm.
We have recently purchased this building, and we'll make it fit for people to actually inhabit.
All of the residents that live in this building still, correct?
Well, the construction will take time, and we don't want you living through that, so we figured a
I
fresh
really do
start.
appreciate that you've already offered to house us somewhere else. If you have the details on you, that would be pretty preferable. And he holds his
Go
hand out.
Go ahead and give me a compel high society. So roll me 3d10.
3d10. Let's go. Don't shit. Uh-oh. See a 1. No, we're good.
Just the
We're
highest
good.
one. The highest one is the only one that
7.
matters.
7.
Whew. Okay, so that's a success at a cost.
Mm-hmm.
He sort of looks at you and looks around, and seeing none of the other residents, sort of leans in and says, Well, we're giving everyone 7 days to gather the things and find a place, but for someone of your stature, I suppose we could extend a helping hand. Why don't you come by my office? And I can try and find you a place to stay in the meantime. And he scribbles on sort of one of the other notices a location.
I appreciate that. He's lying through his teeth. Sorry, I didn't catch your name. I understand that you're from Brighthelm, but your particular name, so I can ask for yourself particularly.
He sort of looks back at the two guards, but says, "Oh, of course, my name is Felix." And clearly lying, very clearly lying.
Felix, what a wonderful name. I can tell someone of your esteem would have such a great name.
He sort of nods and says, "Yeah, so just come to that address, ask for me, and we'll get you set up. And like I said, everyone in the building, you have," and he points at the sheet, which, under the bright eviction notice has like a date that you have to be out by, which is in a week, and says, "I mean, we're really being generous giving you that much time. I mean, the state of this building, it's on you really wanting to stay longer than today. It's, who knows, it could
So
collapse."
we can.
Well, you have to
that's
be out.
wonderful to hear.
Oh, no, and he sort of looks
I really appreciate
back.
that, Felix. It's lovely to hear that. You gentlefolk have a wonderful day, and don't go down 2 alleys to the left. I don't... Actually do. I enjoy your days. And he'll close the door.
There's like a pause of, I think, just befuddlement and feeling absolutely like you got one over on him, and then another knock at the door, followed by a very sad, 5 minutes where he slips the papers under the door, sort of one by one. At last, with one being sort of nailed into the front door.
He'll wait a good amount of time until he can tell that they've gone. And then he'll himself open the door, rip down the piece of paper, and kind of, with his thumb pull out the nail. And then he'll go over to Mrs. Jenkins, who he knows is the better word of mouth than anything else. And he'll rap on her door.
"Oh, I heard someone at the front door. Was it friends of yours? Someone else to invite to dinner?"
I wish that I both had friends to invite to dinner, and no, unfortunately they're not. He'll hand her the piece of paper. They were not friends at all, Mrs. Jenkins, I'm afraid.
She stares at it and absolutely scoffs at the reason given, because, again, everything here is not up to code. There's nothing up to code in this area, but it's never been a problem. And she sighs and says, "It's been happening up and down this street across the neighborhood for being out of code, for people not paying their full rent, for damage to buildings that's been done generations before. I don't know. I thought maybe we would have more time."
Unfortunately not. He gives her a squeeze on the shoulders and says, "I got a name. One of them real, one of them fake. But I think I can sort something out. At least I'll try. I quite like it here."
And she stares at you and looks sort of deep into your eyes for a moment. And, you know, Amir, that you don't necessarily fit in with this neighborhood, this building, but you want to stay. And she has welcomed you and will continue to welcome you. And so she just says, well, that's good to hear. I mean, someone as good at adjusting mirrors. I mean, I'm sure you
Couldn't
can
possibly leave.
hold a mirror up to their actions. And she sort of clasps your hand. You're a good boy. Come to dinner on the roof tonight. I'll invite everyone.
I think that's a good idea.
And I think that is a place where we will take our break. We will be back in around 10 minutes. Thank you so much. Hello, and welcome back to the Renewal of Red Row. It's our first session. We have been introduced to most of our party and just gotten word that everyone in their building is being evicted. Before we get back to that, just want to note that Itaewon by Night is returning in August 15th, 8 p.m. ET. Keep it on your calendar. I'm excited for everything to come back and also for me to have time to catch up. So, Freddie, I believe that you are now heading home from your beautiful interview.
I have a plastic bag full of spray paint cans. I'm gonna go to where can I assume there are some graffiti artists?
Absolutely.
Great. I want to go up to this group of whether be it they're artists or just straight up kids who know the spots. I am gonna walk up to, kind of just brazenly walk up to an alley or wherever this little meetup spot is with this bag full of cans. Hey, could I interest y'all in these fresh cans?
I think that sort of leader of the group turns to look at you, sizes you up, and says, "What do you want for it?"
Make some killer fucking art.
You one of those weirdos trying to see if you want to bring me up Spire and have me do your walls or whatever?
No. Just spoke to somebody. In 5 days there's going to be a council meeting about getting Red Row renewed, apparently, so if we want to go ahead and make that less reasonable.
What do you mean renewed? We just got kicked out of our building. What renewal are they gonna do?
What? Where are you at?
They sort of gesture with their head down the street. A couple blocks from here, and one of the other teens, pipes up and says, "Yeah, our place too, and my mom's shop, someone else bought it out and the rent has gone up. We can hardly afford it. The restaurant's not going to be able to stay up."
Freddie does not take out a notepad to take down these kids' stuff. She's just gonna commit it to memory. Even more reason, guys. I want to give you this as maybe the last boon that we're gonna get in a while. And then she will just set them down and she'll just like walk off to just kind of just prove that like I'm not here for anything. Please tag this fucking neighborhood up.
I think that the third kid who was quiet throughout all of it sort of gives you a very timid like thank you as you walk away.
And as soon as she's like away from the kids, she will take note of what she heard, that like she'll want like specific streets, but she like takes down that like rent is going up. Okay. And I'm heading home.
Also heading home is De Niro. Theo, I think, has been basically dragging you the whole way, both through the crowds at the fighting pit, and then also once you get out on the street, you get the feeling that maybe it's less about like getting you home fast, and more about just sort of keeping a point of connection. And if you ask what has happened and why they're hustling you home, the only answer you get is just like, we should just get home and then they'll explain it.
Yeah, I think after that he just stops talking and he lets himself be pulled, sort of squeezing his hand twice, and then every time there's a turn, etc. But if Theo's nervously running, then he is trotting basically behind them.
And so we converge back on your building, where I think that Mrs. Jenkins has enlisted you, Amir, into helping. The rooftop is a garden, but it's also a sort of gathering space, a community space. And she set up a fire, there's a stew going, and she has you like opening the door and leading up sort of neighbors and all the people that she has sort of rallied together during the day in the few hours since you got this eviction notice.
He'll do so happily. He'll, hello, welcome in. No, I'm not hired help. I live here.
And I think that, yeah, Theo leads you, De Niro, up to the roof, and Freddie, there's something happening, and there's, a chance at free food is always nice. And so our team converges and sort of almost spitefully, crookedly nailed into the door to the roof access is one of the eviction notices, which you can notice as you come up.
Do I see a mirror pretty immediately?
Probably be holding the door open.
Okay, so as you like are opening the door, and Freddie is just like, she's still hungover, she's tired, she's like not dressed a certain way. It almost like bumps straight into you, Amir, and then just kind of like slack-jawed looking at you.
He'll kind of like catch you and say, "Oh, I know I look like a door, but I'm not." And then he'll stop and look at you. Freddie.
Yeah.
This isn't your usual haunts. Nice to see you.
Is there alcohol?
Welcome in. Is there alcohol, God?
Come on, Mrs. Jenkins knows how to throw a roof party.
There's the stuff that you might want to drink, and then there's Mrs. Jenkins' moonshine.
Okay.
So that's probably what you're going to want to drink.
I will catch up with you after a couple of those moonshines. And then I just like rush past you.
Kind of like nod his head. Welcome. Hello. Oh, kids, no, don't put those in your nose.
Yeah, and indeed there is moonshine and some bottles of maybe less powerful but equally homebrewed liquor, along with a lovely giant pot of stew, mostly from ingredients grown on this very garden, because who has time to go out and buy food? But as sort of a critical mass of people gathers on the roof, Mrs. Jenkins sort of clears her throat and then does like a single clap and then two claps, and almost like, you know, the way a school teacher is able to get your attention, everyone sort of instinctively claps back and turns to look at her. And she sort of clears her throat, and I'm sure you've all seen by now the notice on the door. Some man from some holding company came by earlier today. We have to leave the building in 7 days or less, and it's been happening all over.
Mrs. Jenkins, do you know about the council meeting in 5 days?
She sort of cocks her head and looks at you. Is that the one about the school year starting at a different time?
It might be sandwiched in with that, but it is about Glassholm and Shines the Light renewing Red Row.
What is that supposed to mean? That's that woman, the church woman. And she sort of gestures, looks over to one of her friends.
Our glorious ladies woman. Shopping centers. Who knows, maybe some more. Loans. That sort of thing. I'm currently covering it as best as I can, but I'm so sorry. And I think Freddie just kind of like, she knows kind of also like in the back of her head the very guilty thing of like, I kind of have to talk very well about this project. But she is gonna, as much as she can, inside man with this convergence right now, and she just like chugs some moonshine.
A council meeting in 5 days. Well, the the concerned business owners, they were going to have a protest. I wonder if that's what this is about. And that name, the concerned business owners, Freddie, you're aware that it does contain some concerned business owners, but it's mostly an organization of businesses run by one Mr. Winter.
Okay. Sorry, I keeps punching the mic. I have a source that I can talk to, get some little bit more information about the specific streets. Maybe get the actual story, if there's anything in particular we could help with. I can do that.
I mean, what is there even to do? We can try and go to the council meeting, talk to the counselors, but they're not going to listen to us.
I'm gonna get as much as I can on paper, get some research, but I can't. In these types of things, I have to stay fairly neutral. So it couldn't be my voice.
She clasps your hand and looks at you like a disappointed grandmother, but just says, yeah, we all have to follow our path. And of course, you need to keep a paycheck if you're gonna get kicked out in a week. So.
I think De Niro hasn't said anything, but he's going to like leap down to Theo and just whisper softly. It's like, is this what you brought me here for? Because this is the worst news of my life. It could have waited for at least a few hours.
Theo sort of winces up at you and says, it was kind of that, but also I overheard, and you know this child well enough to know that that means that he was intentionally eavesdropping, possibly hanging from the eaves outside of the building. He's a scrappy, scraggly little thing. Mrs. Chicken, when she heard about what was happening, she said something about someone finishing the work that they had started. And I think I heard your family's name. In the background, a sad dog.
Just the most serious sad dog ever. No, I think his face goes dark at that. And yeah, I did have slight issue focusing, but that's no one's fault. He like holds him by his top shoulders and says, you know, no matter what happens, because I'm assuming everyone got these notices, I will take care of you. You know that. But I need you to tell me who you were. Like identifying features, like anything more. But if you, like, he looks him up and down. This is clearly very stressful. If you wanna tell me whenever you're ready, that's fine. His face is not fine, but he's just like through gritted teeth. He's like, it's fine.
And Theo, I think, sort of leans up into your hold, and the sort of second set of arms growing from behind their shoulders kind of wrap around your forearms and says, you don't need to take care of me. I'm an adult. I can take care of myself.
Listen, I'm barely an adult. I don't want to have this argument with you because there's one thing you and I can agree on is that I'm much older than you. So I know age doesn't matter to you. Oh my god, I need I need to talk to the guard. I'm probably going to keep my job. That's not the real problem. But I don't want you to have to work, is the thing. You shouldn't have to make that choice. So I don't even, like, he definitely didn't read anything coming in. So it's like, how many days do we even have to get out of here?
Can I smash into De Niro?
Okay, yeah, sure. I think
Um,
he like catches you with ease,
yeah.
no matter what you do.
How tall is De Niro?
Let's say like 5'11", definitely not 6 feet.
Okay. Freddy is like 5'4", 5'5". I don't remember what I said. I push it, I like shove into you, and I just say, "Fuck off" to Theo. I'm drunk already. And I just kind of like push us kind of to like a corner of like the roof. And just like hands just like on your like abdomen, chest, whatever. Just like a fully no personal space with the Freddy. So is the guy at the door look familiar to you at all?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not good with names. I think it's
Amir.
like, okay, I was going to say Emil, and now I feel so much less embarrassed. Are you? Yeah, he lives the floor above me. You live here too. Why do you?
I live here, but when did
Yeah.
he get here?
God, has it been almost a year at this point?
He's been here a whole year.
Like I remember he wasn't here when the lease got renewed last year. There's like some. I mean, I don't go up to the gardens very much, but like he's around. I don't know what he does for a day job. Is this like the most urgent thing on your? Sees that you're like disheveled. It's like sorry. Smooths your like dress shirt just a little bit. What's this about, Amir?
Okay, well, we don't have to get into everything tonight. We can childhood ex situation. Not really exes. We joked about getting married. It got very strange. He just got back from his durance, is what that means.
Okay. I'm starting to piece it. Okay.
How unself-aware am I?
Do you want a traditional?
I want you to
scale
lie to
rating?
me so hard right now.
Okay.
Because if you say the wrong thing, I will flip my shit after this party.
I was gonna say, I think if you sat in the room with a bunch of therapists, they would be bewitched by you. Is that what you want to hear? Like, is this about self-awareness or like interpersonal? I'm not the best with that. I do know there is a right answer though, but I don't know if the right answer is gonna get you to where you want to go.
And I think at this point, she's blowing her cover. She's looking so directly at Amir and like in between De Niro and Amir.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Amir, do you think Amir and Freddy lock eyes?
Well, considering he just took a sip of moonshine, put it down, and was like, "It's really good," and then probably you got this. Well, in my head, he feels like he's just chilling, but he probably is like smolder, and then locks eyes with you. Yeah, he'll just like
Oh, shit.
So you're telling me that you haven't seen him in a year?
I've not seen him in a year, and that is also approximately when I stopped doing the info broker shit. And the whole point of me getting out of that was to kind of uproot my whole life and everything. That's the kind of thing that I do. He's like 2 lives ago.
And he's here now.
And he's here. And he's been here for a fucking year?
At most. It could be like 6, like, my days are basically the same. So it's a little blurry. It could be like 6 months to a year, but I've never...
And at this point, Freddy's like, just like very aggressively gestures for Amir to come over.
Oh, hey. I was going to say I never formally met him, so this is... What a great time to meet people, right? When we're about to fucking...
we're all about to...
lose our lives.
Lives?
Like,
We're not getting... the building's not getting decimated with us in it.
My life was here.
I agree.
But all the
Amir
other
walks
places
up.
are... He trails off as you walk out.
You look both very stressed, which makes sense. It's quite a stressful situation. How can I help, Freddy?
When did you move in? How long have I just not seen you?
I don't know. It's been like 6 months to a year or something. 8 months.
See, that was...
8 months and 3 days.
Oh, you had the exact... Okay. I'm sorry. Trying to smooth it. Things are very stressful, but like while we're all here, I'm De Niro. Cafe.
Fine, De Niro. Puts his hand out.
I lived on the 2nd floor, so I didn't really spend too much time in the building, but I understand. Been helping. He waves his hand like with the garden with Miss Jenkins, and I just want to say that's appreciated.
Did you guard at a party around a year and a half ago?
I guarded a few. I know I'm like A rank and was typically assigned to like a few years. So if he like gestures to the mask that he probably still has at this. If I met you under masked conditions, yeah. If I met you under masked conditions, then I don't remember you, and I'm sorry.
He'll kind of
you at
like
a party?
cover the top half of his face and then pretend to point down at something and be like, "Oh yes, you're very delicious. You are. I can't wait." And hopefully that'll jog your memory.
Like his jaw drops. He's like, "Oh, I see." Like, I couldn't really do anything because I was on duty at the time. I didn't know if that was like sexual harassment, but like, I guess I remember you now.
What the fuck happened?
I
Passing
was
time.
just security detail. You were probably drunk. Like,
I was there?
Yes. Remember when the guy smashed into the champagne tower and it all fell? You got the last glass standing. Just swiped it. Pretty good.
Not to make sure you didn't step on any shards because that cleanup took a while, and I'm not a janitor, but
Everyone mucks in, you know?
Yeah. It's better. It's a better living than being a guard, I will say. But
Freddy, you
besides
seem
the
like
point.
you're going through something. Are you okay?
Like something else besides this thing that we all are going through.
Yes. Like on top of it. You hungover?
I'm
I don't know why I'm asking, but of course you
everything.
are.
I'm.
Yes.
When did your durance end?
Roughly a year ago.
Okay. And above table, I don't know anything about your connection with your mistress. Or do I?
You would know who she is,
Okay.
and I suppose it's up to you whether you've interacted much. I don't know, you were kind of young.
I guess it just depends on my awareness of y'all's relationship.
I think it would have been pretty common, not like chittering, chattering gossip that very much. Yes, yeah, Amir has the dealer role in his durance, but it's definitely more of a pet situation.
Right. And was it earlier than you anticipated? It ending?
It was both shorter and longer than I anticipated. It ended rather quickly, if that's what you're asking.
That's what I was wondering.
I didn't expect to see you so soon, and literally living in the same fucking building,
My parents used to
essentially.
live here.
That's right.
Thought I'd come back to my home roots. Now they're being pulled up.
Well, like I said from the beginning, in 5 days, there's going to be a council meeting where Leia Shines the Light is going to propose her renewal of Red Row. And don't know if you know or maybe you've seen the glass home loans, people. But that is apparently one of her major stakeholders, if not just her own pocket money. So we have a lot to be worried about on top of just getting kicked out.
There was also Bright Helm. That's the idiot string bean that came and gave us the eviction notice. Came with a bunch of city guards.
Freddie, from your 10 on Glassholm earlier, you know 100% that that is a Glassholm shell company. They are clearly linked.
It's Glass Home too. Glass Home everything.
Mm-hmm. God, how much information would I know about Leia and also Glass Homes with my sordid past?
Yeah, with your sorted past, why don't you go ahead and give me a investigate high society. It looks like you don't have investigate, so just roll me 2d10, please.
Ooh, 2d10. Move out the way. Uh-oh. 5.
Okay. I will say that take one mind stress as you sort of think back to those days under your mistress, and you met Shines the Light at at least one party, probably more. They weren't in the same circles, but they were both high society, and so occasionally had to bump shoulders. And what you remember most about her is how differently she treated you from your mistress, and how it did seem like she was sort of attempting to be cordial, even humane, with the help, and how out of place that made her at your mistress's parties.
Yes, I I remember Leia somewhat. I have an invitation to go down to an address, and he like kind of goes through his pockets and hands Freddie the eviction notice that has the address on it. I'm assuming this is a glass house address, but I technically have an excuse because Stringbean probably fancies me, but I can get in. You can come with if you want. De Niro, you too?
Why not?
I mean, this is an inn, if anything. Do you think we could, rope Marigold in? He's scary.
Oh, for like intimidation, then I could definitely help. But yeah, haven't seen him around the whole day though, so
Makes sense.
I think he's just escaping pigeon duty, if I'm perfectly honest. He'll be around.
If you need someone scary, Theo pipes up from the corner they were shoved.
No, and then like I almost push him down. It's like you can come with again. I'm not gonna.
No, we can't.
That is a child, like a small child.
We can use his small impressionable face to garner sympathy, but if not, I don't know what these
Rich people in businesses hate children.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a child. I'm 18.
You're not winning
not
this.
18.
Yeah, you're not winning this. I am very sorry, and I will defer to them. You can't come. I'm sorry, Theo.
It's my house too.
It's
Theo, maybe you can do some scouting around here. I'm
Like
sure there'll
undercover.
oh, he's good at
be.
that.
Yes, undercover.
They light up. Yeah, I can do that. And sort of scatter away to probably talk to Mrs. Jenkins, get some gossip about what good undercover locations would be for them.
Subtle. I like it. De Niro, would you just excuse us for 2 seconds? And he starts to pull Freddie away.
Mm-hmm. I give Freddie a pat. Like I'm gonna be in the line of sight over there. Bye, Jenkins.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm not gonna be doing anything else because I don't know if I'm going back to the ring. So if you want to do anything before sunrise, just hit me up.
Okay. And then I trudge over with Amir.
He'll kind of like pause, go to pick up a moonshine glass, and then put it back down. And then turn around to Freddie and say, "Why are you being weird, Rose?"
I mean, exactly for the reason that you know the full name past just the rose.
So I shouldn't say it out loud.
You
Loud
should
to everyone.
say anything but Freddy Rose. God.
You want to be cool and underground. Trying to shake your noble exterior because it's very conspicuous that you are definitely one of us, eh?
There's no point in me hiding anything in particular about what I am, but who I am is very much more of a tense thing. I'm trying to get out of this dumb reporter cryptic mindset right now. But, you asked me, why am I weird? Why am I acting whatever?
Mm-hmm.
You sent me back mentally years and years back, and I haven't really thought about home for a very long time. So,
well, we can start with 2 + 2, ABCs. Just a joke. We don't have to hang out. We're just making sure that Retro stays retro. And then after that, I can leave you to be Freddy.
I have such horrible work-life balance. I don't know what I want from you quite yet.
Mm-hmm. Not much has changed then. I kind of like shoulder bump you.
I deserve that.
Mm.
I don't know. When I get a clear head, hopefully by tomorrow, I do want to go to Brightholme with you and De Niro, and if we can rope in Marigold, I think that would be a good idea. You being here also solidifies a few things from the end of my info broker stint.
Mm.
So I'm gonna make sure of a few things. I have someone that maybe I should talk to before the day ends. But I don't know what to say. Just, it's great to see you. It's weird to see you. I'm incredibly flustered and anxious right now, and that's makes me
The way I
feel
like it. What?
it makes me feel a little too at home.
I understand. Well, tomorrow, Brighthelm. Home? What is it?
Brighthelm Glassholm.
Gotcha. Tomorrow, we'll find wherever the fuck Marigold is. Go to Bright Helm. Sort this shit out. And then we'll figure it out.
All in the sake of the truth, or whatever.
Inspiring. He'll do a small bow. Bye, Frederica. And walks off. Says it quietly.
Fuck.
Probably goes over to Mrs. Jenkins and excuses himself and goes back to his introvert ways.
All right, De Niro, is there anything else you'd like to do at the party tonight? Theo did mention that some of the gossip or some of the mentions of your family came from Mrs. Jenkins, but this might not be the best place to confront her about that.
No, he has decorum. He's not gonna do that now. He's like basically going to check in on everybody once to mingle, and then we're probably assuming Amir and Freddie are like parting and maybe drifting off. He would just go to like help Theo start packing with his work because he has to leave in like 6 hours, and it's like, well, you know what they say about work-life balance, but doesn't mean that like they're not going to be doing anything for the next week. It just he is feeling very out of control, and he knows displaying that and then showing that is really only going to cause him problems right now. So he probably, yeah, he'll talk to Miss Jenkins when everyone's scattered, probably.
And for Freddie, anything else you'd like to do tonight?
Throw up and scream. I can do that on my own time, though.
Is that a want or a need?
Have to.
All right, then I think that we will go ahead and close out on this party. Mrs. Jenkins is occupied for most of the night, sort of talking to everyone, trying to get information, really doing a lot of the work that Freddie might be planning to do, but in a more sort of social way. And so you don't have time to corner her tonight, but I think that she does find you, De Niro, as the party is sort of lulls and pats your arm and says, "You should come by." Looks towards the gathering of people, the eviction notices that have been sort of crumpled up on the ground, haven't quite blown away yet, and says, I think we need to talk. And that is where we will close for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for coming to the first session of the Renewal of Red Row. I'm super excited to see where this goes and to have Rook next week, who is the elusive Marigold. Yes, for outros, I'm Alyssa. I have been your GM. You can find me on Twitter and technically Blue Sky at a Disaster Clear. And you can find me as a performer on An Unwavering Force, which is a Star Wars actual play using Pathfinder 2e rules. Passing it along to Joe.
I have been Josephine at Scary Dog Friend, at Scary Dog on Blue Sky. Not your friend on Blue Sky, apparently. You can find me here on Bad House RPG. Once again, Ito by Night is coming back August the 15th. Every other Saturday is Monster Fuckers Anonymous up on Spotify, wherever your podcasts are, with my friend, Cleric_34, where we talk about rate and date your favorite monsters. I'm over at Nameless Domain as well, and I have been your producer today, as well as your wildly messy Inkweaver, Frederica Rose. Don't tell anyone, though. I'm going to pass it over to Nadine.
As I, Nadine, you can find me NE_actor on Twitter, NE actor on Blue Sky, because we're all there now. And every other Saturday, I'm having to use time zones in my brain. Saturday evening, you can find me at Matihi's Twitch, and we are playing pirates, and they're queer and they're gay, and I love them. But yes, I've had an amazing time. Thank you, everyone. I will shoot it over to Nada. Go ahead.
Hey, my name's not Rook. It's Neda or Noor or Amir or Ahmed and they, them, and any of that. And you can find me on Twitter at trans_father and Blue Sky at transfather. Should have delineated those. And I'm not doing anything else right now. This is my only stream game. So happy to be here, playing with these wonderful people and being just a little silly and stupid, and owning a dog, and getting our lives upended by Alyssa. What a lovely
We're
treat.
getting evicted in real life by Alyssa.
Ouch.
That's how real the bleed is. This is a joke. That's how real the bleed is that I'm feeling like I need to leave.
Already
no,
did it to
thank
Rook.
Yeah.
The session 0.
Yeah. Pass it back to you.
But Rook, who is not here tonight, but who is beautiful and wonderful and we love, you can find on Twitter and maybe Blue Sky. I don't know what they're doing with their life. At RJK Games. You can also find them on Itch. And yeah, all the beautiful art and overlays, question mark? Did Fabian also do the overlays?
Yep.
Yeah, the beautiful art and the overlays and the incredible poster for the series were all made by the beautiful Bad House co-producer, Fabian at Rockets and Pens. Hire him.
Please.
And we will be back next week. Same channel, same time, and hope to see you then. Bye.
Bye.